Tanks are made of metal, but sometimes men are too. Welcome to American Esoterica. If history class gives you the sands in the hourglass, these are the days of our lives. The essential stuff in between. The personalities, events, and other ephemera that shape our history and culture. I'm Brian Powers. There's metal, and then there's metal, M-E-T-T-L-E. But one man might have been made of both. He didn't choose the fate that was dealt him, but he played his hand better than almost anybody else. Reuben Rivers didn't set out to become a hero. Born into a black and indigenous family of 11 children in Oklahoma, he first worked for a railway out of high school. He dutifully signed up for the draft in 1940, and in 1942, depending on what account you read, his number came up, or he just heroically volunteered. The Army assigned him to Able Company of the 761st Tank Battalion, a segregated all-black battalion formed in April of 1942 that would come to be known as the Black Panthers. They operated out of Camp Claiborne, Louisiana, and they received about as much Southern charm and respect as one might imagine for the time. Knowing that their race could prevent them from serious consideration, they trained heavily, and trained some more. That August, the battalion moved to a nearby camp for a month of further tank drills. And it was there that the Army saw for the first time that the Black Panthers perform on a level as good or better than the all-white battalions. They came back to Camp Claiborne with their chests puffed out, only to be deflated by the same racist taunting they had experienced before. The next April, in 1943, a year after the unit was formed, they were moved, this time to Camp Hood in Texas, and they were given the Sherman, the newest American tank. Unlike the older equipment, the Sherman was reliable and simple to repair, even in the field. Still, the soldiers wondered if they would ever see battle, training to fight on a front that desperately needed their help, yet seemed reluctant to accept it. On June 9, 1944, they finally got the news they had been waiting over 2 years to hear. The Black Panthers were headed to the European front to fight. While they were anxious to put their training to use, there may have been some longing to leave behind good old American racism as well. For instance, the very next month, a member of the Black Panthers refused to move to the back of a segregated bus at Fort Hood. The battalion's commander refused to prosecute the soldier, but higher-ups had the man transferred to another unit to be court-martialed. He was acquitted, but too late to see combat with the Black Panthers. First Lieutenant Jack Roosevelt Robinson, better known as Jackie, settled for becoming one of the greatest baseball players of all time and broke the color barrier there instead. The Black Panthers, without their star first baseman, arrived on Omaha Beach in France in October of 1944. In just 6 days, the battalion raced 400 miles across France to catch up with Patton's Third Army. General Patton privately harbored the same doubts about the battalion's abilities other white idiots did, but when they arrived, he still gave them a condescending pep talk. Men, you're the first, let's say African-American, tankers to ever fight in the American Army. I would never have asked for you if you weren't good. I have nothing but the best in my army. I don't care what color you are as long as you go up there and kill those, let's say German, sons of, let's say female dogs. Everyone has their eyes on you and is expecting great things from you. Most of all, your race is looking forward to your success. Don't let them down, and damn you, don't let me down. They say it is patriotic to die for your country. Well, let's see how many patriots we can make out of those German sons of female dogs. He then went back and said some racist stuff about him in private, but it's the empty sentiment that counts, right? The Black Panthers then proceeded to destroy every expectation set for them, putting it all on the line as they fought, bled, and died. Their first battle liberated the French town of Morville-les-Vicq in the first week of November, and it was black officers leading the way as most of the white officers had been too wounded to join. What was supposed to be an easy maneuver turned into a bloodbath of hard fighting, but the Black Panthers captured Morville-le-Vicq in one day of fighting. The commander during the battle, Captain John D. Long, summed up what drove him and his battalion during the fight. "Not for God and country, but for me and my people. This was motivation pure and simple when I entered the army. I swore to myself there would never be a headline saying my men and I chickened. The town of Morville-le-Vicq was supposed to be a snap, but it was an inferno. My men were tigers. They fought like seasoned veterans. We got our lumps, but we took that sexual expletive town." It was during that battle and the days after that Staff Sergeant Reuben Rivers in particular began to shine. On November 8th, a German roadblock forced his tank to stop under heavy fire. Leading the column of tanks, Rivers knew that a stalled tank was a dead tank, and the column were sitting ducks. So what did Staff Sergeant Rivers do? He jumped out of the tank, attached a cable to the roadblock, and jumped back into the tank, using the machine to pull the obstacle out of the way. He was under heavy enemy small arms fire the entire time. He was awarded the Silver Star, the first awarded to the battalion. A little over a week later, on November 16th, on the road to the village of Gueblanc, Rivers' tank hit a landmine at a railroad crossing, wounding everyone inside and destroying the tank. His leg in particular had been gashed all the way to the bone, exposing it from thigh to ankle. Now, here's where any normal human would have stood down. It's called the $1 million wound, the one that gets you out of the war for good. Take the medical evacuation. Receive your Purple Heart. You've done enough. This is as much as anyone should expect of you, more even. Staff Sergeant Rivers, though, he rejected all attempts to evacuate him. He defied a direct order to let the medics take him, saying, "This is one order, the only order I'll ever disobey." He even turned down shots of morphine for the pain. Then, that crazy son of a female dogs did something unbelievable. He commandeered another tank and kept the battalion advancing. He told his commander, "You'll need me around here." In Gueblanc, he forced 2 enemy tanks to withdraw under his engagement. His wound, though, had become dangerously infected with gangrene. Still, Staff Sergeant Reuben Rivers fought on. On November 19th, as they launched an assault on another French village, Able Company drove into an ambush. German anti-tank crews lay hidden along the road and waited until the column of American tanks came within easy reach. Then, suddenly, they began picking off the Shermans one by one. The order came to pull back and take cover, but the battalion was still open to enemy fire as it did so. So, Staff Sergeant Reuben Rivers did what he did best: disobeyed the order to retreat. Instead, he called in the radio, "I see him. We'll fight him." And fight he did, covering his fellow tanks as they retreated, as his tank lay fully exposed to German anti-tank fire. His commanding officer radioed back to take cover, but there was no response. Rivers had been in the turret of the tank when it took a direct hit. He was gone at the age of 25. If you want to know why it's important to tell these stories, and why I tell these stories, then let's talk about what came next. The white commanding officer, Captain David Williams, the man who gave both the orders that Rivers disobeyed, recommended Rivers for the Medal of Honor literally the next day. Then, he spent the next 53 years fighting to make that honor come into fruition for Staff Sergeant Rivers. See, in 1993, the Pentagon had a study that showed that out of over 400 medals of honor that came from World War II, not a single one went to a black soldier, despite more than 1.5 million of them fighting. Many of them were recommended, but none were acted upon. It took until 1997, but Staff Sergeant Reuben Rivers posthumously received the Medal of Honor. And after everything you've heard about what he did, it should really make you wonder, what took him so sexual expletive long? This has been American Esoterica. All sounds were made by me, Brian Powers. Did I get it wrong? Did I get it right? Just want to talk about how I need to stop using bad words? Drop me a note. The address is yell@americanesoterica.com. More information on the show can be found at americanesoterica.com. Thank you for listening, and God bless America.